Hey there, Contractor Kev here with Overseas Contractor Academy, and today I give you the civilian guide to working with different branches of the military. Stay tuned. If you've never been in the military, you may not realize that not all military things are the same. It's definitely not one size fits all, so today I'm going to tell you about those differences. And what makes me qualified to talk about such things? Well, not to brag, but I was recently awarded a PhD in military philosophy and awesomeness by a world-renowned professor of the arts. So you can trust every word I say. It's science! The key to understanding the differences in the military branches is to understand that they all have different missions. Obviously, the Air Force ain't storming any beaches, and the Marines weren't made to nuke people. Each branch has its own unique mission, and the way they do everything is done with that unique mission in mind. So let's start with my chosen branch of the armed forces, the Air Force. Now this is by far the least militant branch of all the services. Smarter people tend to gravitate towards the Air Force. People that aren't exactly in great shape sign up for the Air Force. People with depleted testosterone join the Air Force. Why? Because how buff do you need to be to fight a war like this? Due to this lack of ego and machismo, working with the Air Force as a civilian is probably easier than with any other branch. Now the Navy's an interesting mix of really smart people and really dumb ones. Luckily, they usually only send the smart ones to forward deployed areas to work with the other branches. Well played, Navy. Well played. Every Navy guy I ever worked with in the Middle East was sharp, cool, and could get any job accomplished that they set their mind to. That said, my father was Navy and we grew up in Navy housing, so I know the Navy's hiding a stash of idiots out there somewhere. The Army is a mix of some really clever individuals with a whole lot of confused ones. These are the salt of the earth people that usually come from humble backgrounds. They're good people. You have to admire the Army though, because they usually are not given enough to accomplish their mission, and their mission is often loosely defined as anything and everything that anyone else ain't doing already. Yet they do the best they can with what they're given. It's like having a team without any stars and being told to go win the championship. Spoiler alert, much like in the movie, the Army usually doesn't win the big prize, but they often play the game well enough to impress everyone. And lastly, there's the Marines. Now the Marines are by far the best fighters of the military. Now these guys can go kick anyone's butt on a minute's notice. Even their dogs are badasses. But being a Marine isn't really a job. It's more like a chosen religion. One that maims and kills the enemy. Like any good religion, Marine adherents are often so fanatical that they have great difficulty talking about anything other than the Marines. It's truly an obsession with them. As such, if you don't have a Marine background, you may feel like you've accidentally stumbled onto some kind of cult. They're tough, they're good in a fight, but on the whole they aren't really prone to calm, rational thought, especially when they're in the presence of other Marines. As such, the way to handle the Marines is kind of the same way you would handle a cult convert that you're trying to set free. Isolate them and speak to them really nicely and slowly. Each service has its own mission. The Air Force mission is to use technology to conduct war from far, far away, up to and including outer fucking space. The Navy's mission is to use technology to conduct war from the world's oceans, which they dominate. Fuck the Red October. The Army's mission is to conduct war on land and occupy real estate. And the Marines' mission is to go kick everyone's ass. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter where, no questions asked, just ass kicking. Now because of these differences in missions, each service typically attracts very different types of people and has completely different approaches to dealing with problems. The Air Force and Navy tend to look for the smart way to solve their problems, often relying on new technology. The Army looks for any way they can solve the problem using whatever tools they have at hand. And the Marines tend to not solve problems and just go without. Then they'll point out how strong they are for going without it. It's a bit like doublethink. Orwell references all up in the video. Get some of that learning, son.
Orwell, he was that legendary golfer, right?
He was one of the most famous authors in history, dude. 1984, Animal Farm. How could you not know who George Orwell is? He was a fucking Brit, dude.
My accent only makes me sound smart.
Apparently so. So now you know what to expect working with the different branches. I have to admit, I've mostly enjoyed every branch I've worked with. It was toughest with the Marines, but even they tend to grow on you after a while. At the end of the day, you're all Americans that are living and working overseas together, so you look out for one another. It's a team. Team America. Fuck yeah. The end. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks for watching. More videos to come. Oh, good times. So, new bit, shirt of the day. This one's Camel Racing Club from Afghanistan. Afghanistan! I only did a short bit in Afghanistan, about 5 or 6 months, split between Kandahar and Helmand Province. Pretty sure I picked this up in Kandahar, but pretty cool. If you go overseas, you'll end up picking up shirts pretty much everywhere you go, and they're cool memories to have. Thanks a lot.